So first let me tell you what I have already done. I have connected the external monitor to my laptop through the HDMI cable. Okay. And I want to change the brightness of the external monitor. And it is not an easy task, but so many things I learned along the way. So in this video, I am going to show you how you can change the brightness of the external monitor with so many things along the way that you will learn as a newbie to the Linux, or uh, even if you are experienced enough, you will learn a lot. So the first thing I will do is I will list out all the displays that are actually connected to my system. By system, I mean the Omarchy OS, all the displays that are connected to the system. So to check that, I will open up the terminal inside Omarchy. So to open up terminal, you need to press super plus enter. That will open up the Alacrity terminal that you see right now. And in that, you need to type a certain command so that it will display all the available uh, displays actually connected to the system. Okay, so it will show all the displays connected to the system. So you need to type hyperctl, which stands for hyper control. Actually, this Omarchy OS is based on hyperland tiling manager, Windows manager. So anything related to hyperland will work in Omarchy. So hyper control, then about monitors, list out all the monitors. Okay, so these are the displays that are actually connected to the system, to our Omarchy OS. And you might notice some things written over here. Monitor, monitor. So there are two monitors, EDP1, HDMI A1. EDP1 is the embedded display port, and that is nothing but the internal display of my laptop actually. Okay, so this is one display. There is another display that is connected to my system via HDMI cable. This is the monitor that I have, MSI G244F E2. This is the monitor that I am currently working on. We need to focus only on this particular thing, HDMI A1. Before focusing on HDMI display that we have, the monitor, external monitor, we need to disable the integrated display of our laptop, because only this monitor will be active. I want this monitor to be active, not this. Okay, so to do that, uh, go inside the Omarchy menu, and you can do that by pressing super alt and space. This will open up the Omarchy menu. Just go inside setup, then monitors. Now this will open up another window. This is the NeoVim editor. Now to edit this configuration file, you need to press I on your keyboard. Now pressing I on your keyboard will enable the edit mode inside NeoVim. As you can see right here, there is insert written over here. Now you can easily change this. So I have already added a line, monitor equals to EDP1, which is the name of the internal display, EDP1, then comma disable. So I disabled this particular display over here. Okay, now you press escape so that you exit out of this particular window. Now it has not been saved. To save this, you need to press shift and colon to enter the command line mode, and then type W and Q. W is to write the contents to the original file, and Q is to quit out of this window. Just hit enter, and now the window closes, and everything that you have saved over there will be active now. Okay, so if you now check on your system, then you will see that current format is invalid, disabled equals to true. And for this, what that I am working right now, HDMI A1, disabled equals to false. That means this is working, this is active, this is not active because this is disabled. Okay, so that is the first thing that you need to do, disable the integrated display. Now let me tell you some things about Linux, the packages, the modules. There are certain things that you need to know in order to understand about the working of brightness, or working with the monitor, working with hardware devices. You need to understand certain things in Linux. So in Linux, actually, there is always a tool to carry out tasks, whether it be changing some configuration files, whether it be customizing your fan, internal like laptop's fan, you want to control that, or customization in any possible manner. You can always do that in Linux, and there is always a tool to carry out those tasks. And for our tasks, actually, for changing the brightness of our monitor, there is a tool just for that, and that tool is called ddcutil. DDC means display data channel, util, utility, display data channel utility. By hearing the full form of this DDC util, you can clearly observe one thing, that it's a utility tool that communicates with our monitor's firmware. Okay, so we need to install that ddc util. We need to install that. Press not Windows, press Super Alt space. It will open up Omarchy menu. Now type install, then package. Now here you need to type ddc util. Since I have already installed this ddc util, I don't need to do that again. But for you, you need to do that. After installation, just press escape on your keyboard to exit this window. Okay, now that you have installed ddcutil, which is the tool that we will use to change the brightness. Now I want to see which monitors are actually available for changing the brightness. So to check that, ddcutil, type this into the terminal, ddcutil, then detect. Okay, you will notice one thing, that no dev I2C devices exist. That means in the dev folder, no I2C folder is there. DDC util requires module I2C dev. And you need to understand what is I2C. First, let me tell you one thing. In Linux, the kernel is the core of the operating system. I mean, everything like modules, inputs, so many things are actually written in the kernel, so that this Omarchy OS is working. The first thing that is built is the kernel. Kernel is the heart of the OS. So in Linux, the kernel actually controls the hardware devices. So in our case, monitor is the hardware device. Simple, right? So kernel controls that. But the thing with the kernel is that it does not load the support of devices by itself. It does not load the support of devices by itself. If you are just thinking like, I need to work with monitors, I need to understand the brightness, what is the current brightness level, then kernel does not allow you to do that directly. But there is a way in which you can load and unload something to communicate with the kernel so that you can work with the devices. Okay, and for that we need modules. Modules actually allow us to communicate with devices without rebooting the system. So you can think of modules like an interface that acts between the Linux system, that is the Omarchy OS, and the hardware devices. Okay, the kernel of the Omarchy OS and the hardware devices. Modules are the media in by which you communicate with the hardware devices. So we need to load I2C module. I2C stands for inter integrated circuit. Now what is I2C? I2C is a simple communication bus used by many devices like sensors, embedded chips, monitors. All these devices, sensors, embedded chips, and monitors, these devices actually use I2C to create a medium of communication. Okay, so when my external monitor is connected to the laptop via HDMI cable, what I2C does is a small I2C channel actually runs inside the HDMI cable so that our Linux system, our Omarchy OS, can talk to the monitor. Monitor is an external hardware device. It's completely a hardware thing, not software. Monitor is completely a hardware thing. So Omarchy OS is the software thing, the Linux, the kernel, Omarchy OS, and OS does not know about the monitor, but I have connected the system with the monitor via HDMI cable. But there is no communication between that. Only connecting a cable does not allow you to operate on an advanced level. Okay? You cannot communicate with the external devices by just connecting a cable. It does not work like that. You have to have a module to act between your hardware device and the software, that is our kernel, that is the Omarchy OS. Okay, so I2C acts as a module that connects the hardware and the software. Simple. Now we need to load this I2C dev module, and we can do that by typing sudo modprobe. Modprobe command is actually used to load a kernel module into our memory so that we can use it without rebooting the system. Okay, modprobe is to load a kernel module into our memory. So there are certain modules by kernel which are not used unless we tell it to use. Okay, so first we are writing sudo, means whatever module we are importing or loading up will run as root user. That means it should not ask for any permission. It runs as the root user. In Windows you must have heard about run as administrator, things similar to that. Okay, sudo modprobe and then the name of the module, that means I2C dash dev. This is the module I2C dash dev. ddcutil requires this module, so that's why we are loading this module into our memory using this modprobe command. Okay, hit enter and it will ask for the password that you have set for the login into the Linux system. Just type the password. Now the module has been loaded. But to check whether this module has been loaded or not, uh, there is a command. Okay, before telling you that command, let me tell you that you can list all the modules that are currently loaded into our memory. Okay, so for that, you need to type lsmod, list all the modules that are currently loaded. Okay, this is a huge list, but I want to know whether I2C dev module has been loaded or not. So to check that only about I2C dev, we need to use a thing called global regular expression print, full form for grep, grep, the abbreviation grep. We will use this grep to filter out only I2C dev module, not all of it. Okay. And if you are thinking about grep, then let me tell you, grep is completely out of our syllabus, out of this scope of our video. Grep in itself is a huge topic. It's about regular expressions, which is a huge topic, a vast topic, which I will dive deep into it in upcoming videos. But for now, just know that grep is used to filter out certain things out of a long list of elements. Okay, so we will type lsmod. This is the complete list of modules. Then we will uh, insert a pipe operator, lsmod, and then pipe operator. Pipe operator is situated in your keyboard above the enter key. Lsmod pipe operator, then grep, then the name of the module. Make sure that you write I2C underscore dev, not dash dev. Okay. You can see there are three things here. I2C dev, which is the name of the module. Then the size, that means the memory that the module is using, 28672. And the second number that you see right here is 0. That means how many other modules are depending on it. And notice one thing, that let's say nfnet link, this takes up this much amount of memory and it is used by 5 other modules. But if you notice over here, I2C dev is not being used by any other modules. So that's why kernel does not load this particular module by default. Okay, this is the reason why kernel does not load this module. That's why we loaded this module using the modprobe command. Now we can check for the availability of monitors for changing the brightness. We need to see whether our monitors are ready for changing the brightness. So that we have already done. ddcutil, then detect. Previously we got the error, but we will not anymore. This will show you display 1 and then the invalid display, because edp1 we have disabled this. This is the only active display that we have, MSIG 244 FE2. This is the active display. Now, in order to set the brightness, we need to know one thing, and that is the VCP code. To know the VCP code of brightness, we need to type like this: ddcutil, then capabilities, ddcutil capabilities. Now it will show you all the features that you can access using this ddcutil toolkit. So as you can see, feature number 10 under VCP features, feature number 10 is the brightness. So we can change the brightness. These are actually VCP codes, okay? 2, 4, 5, these are VCP codes. VCP means Virtual Control Panel. VCP stands for Virtual Control Panel. So each adjustable setting in our monitor, like brightness, contrast, horizontal frequency, everything has a VCP code. For brightness, we have VCP code as 10. Now we can set the brightness to something else. But before setting the brightness, we need to know what is the current brightness level of our monitor. To get that, we need to type ddcutil. We will use this particular tool, get VCP for brightness. Okay, that means current value is actually 0. I have set the brightness to 0. Max value could be 100, but the current value is 0. Let's change this value to something like 30, which will be 30% in brightness. So to set the brightness, we will use set VCP, then let's say 30, and automatically, okay, it shows missing arguments. Okay, I have a simple error here. ddcutil set VCP. We are changing the brightness. That means we need to type first 10, which is the VCP code for brightness. Then only we can add the value. So there will be 4 arguments here. ddcutil is the name of the toolkit that we are using, name of the package that we are using. Set VCP is the command, 10 is the VCP code, then 30 is the value that we are changing to. The moment you do this, the brightness of your screen will increase. Similarly, you can also change it to 60. The brightness will increase further. Let's reset it to 0. So this is how you can change the brightness of your external monitor in Omarchy OS. It's not that simple, I know. It's quite difficult. There might be easy way to do that, but I feel like this is the best thing that I have known so far. I learned so many things in the way, and hopefully you must have learned something in this video.